Hi guys, welcome to video 2 of week 2 for pre-algebra. Today we're going to talk about equivalent fractions and simplifying because they sort of go hand in hand. Because when you simplify fractions to their simplest form, there are many different fractions that can simplify to the same simplest form, and those fractions we call equivalent. So for example, we're going to get to these in a second, but for example, let's say we have 1/2. Okay, well there are a lot of fractions that equal 1/2 when they are fully simplified. Okay, examples of that would be 2/4, right? Because 2 out of 4 is half. Also 4/8, because 4 out of 8 is also 1/2. Okay, also 10/20, and so on and so forth, right? Because 10 out of 20 is the same as 1/2. So we call all of these fractions equivalent fractions, and when we simplify, we want our fractions to be simplified in the lowest form possible. So it's usually going to be 1/3, 1/4, something like 2/5 or 3/5, because when you have a denominator that is prime, then you have different ones. But for the purposes of this is what we're going to do, because I think that makes the most sense. So if I had just 4/8 and I said, okay, simplify 4/8, you would try to find the greatest common factor between 4 and 8 and divide both of those by that number. So factors, again, are numbers that multiply together to create the number, right? So the factors of 4 are 1 and 4 and 2. Right, because 2 times 2. The factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. So if we're trying to find the greatest common factor to simplify, we would use 4, right? Because 2 is also a common factor, but we want the greatest one because we want to simplify it down to its lowest form, so we want to divide it by the highest number possible. Okay, so 4 divided by 4 and 8 divided by 4 gives you guessed it, 1/2. Okay, so that's basically all we're doing today. The format of the questions for your problems are a little different than maybe you've seen before, but that's essentially all we're doing. We're trying to figure out what the variable is based on it being equal to this other fraction. So both of these are going to be equivalent fractions, and we have to figure out what the w is, okay? So 1/4 equals 2 over w. So 1/4 is pretty much the lowest form a fraction can be, right? So how would I get from 1 to 2? I'd multiply it by 2, right? And whatever I do to the top or bottom, I have to do to the top or bottom. So if I multiplied the bottom by 2 also, then that would mean that w would equal 8. So does 1/4 equal 2/8? It does. So w would equal 8. Okay, so that's all you're doing. You're just telling me what that variable equals. So over here we have 3/6 equals 4c. This one's a little different because it doesn't fit exactly the same way that this one does. 3/6 and 4c. So first we have to simplify 3/6 all the way down to see what the lowest form of the fraction is, so that we can then find what this fraction could be. Because this is a little bit off-putting with the 3 and the 4, because you can't really multiply anything by 3 to get to 4, so we can't use the same method, okay? So let's simplify 3/6. The multiples of 3 are 1 and 3. Multiples of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. So the greatest common factor, I was saying multiples, but factors. The greatest common factor of 3 and 6 is 3. So if we divide both by 3, that gives us 1/2. Okay, so now I know that 3/6 is equal to 1/2. So whatever 4 over c is also has to equal 1/2. So what did we see earlier? That 4 over what is 1/2? 8, right? So c equals 8. So there are a couple different methods that you could do this with. This one works if you're starting from the lowest form of the fraction, you can multiply up. This one you have to figure out what the lowest form of the fraction is and then go from there, okay? So I'm going to put up your assignment. Not that one. It's only 4 questions because this is a little bit complicated and I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Okay, so grab a piece of paper and a pencil and write that down. Okay, and the instructions say what number could replace the variable. Move that little guy. Okay, so you're just gonna do just like we just did and tell me what number could replace the variable. Okay, and those, remember, are the questions that you'll turn into me via email or via Zoom, so you can get entered in that drawing for the $25 gift card. Also complete your con assignments, because if you complete all your con assignments that are due this week, you will also get your name entered in the drawing for a $25 gift card. So you have 2 chances to win a $25 gift card. Your odds are gonna be better to win if you're doing assignments on both places, okay? If you have questions, email me. Remember, my office hours are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. for questions and noon for social time. Okay, thanks guys, bye.